Just so many repairs to do because of all of the kilometers. 3,489 Canadian dollars. If it's not going to be like your main priority, your main source of income, and that's never the plan, I don't think that it's like worth it. Hello guys, today is the video that has been long overdue. The reason was because we hadn't yet sold the van, and I wanted to make sure that once we sold it, I was able to do all the proper calculations so that I can give you guys all of the information needed for you guys to understand whether or not it is a good idea for you to rent out your vehicle on platforms such as TURO for extra income, or just to balance out the payments for your van or for your car. Before we get started, I want to give you guys a bit of a background. Basically, Jeremy and I, we started car camping abroad. Not really abroad, we didn't go that far, but we live in Canada. We took a flight to the US, to Arizona, and while we were there, we rented a Dodge Grand Caravan from the company called TURO. Basically, that company is a platform where you can rent other people's cars for however long, whether it's a week or a couple of days or 2 weeks or a month. And we primarily did that because we were younger and it was insane rates for the young driver fees at like normal rental companies. So we found this platform, TURO, and that's what we used in order to car camp throughout Arizona and California. About a year and a half later, we also went to Alberta, and we used the same platform to book another Dodge Grand Caravan and camp throughout Alberta and British Columbia. And we loved it. We loved the experience. We met the owners, and they had full businesses like with these cars and stuff. And we really wanted a Dodge Grand Caravan specifically, or a van, because we love car camping. We wanted to do it more around the east side of Canada, Quebec, also the Maritimes. We had been playing with the idea for a while of getting a van to kind of continue with these adventures, also to make content for YouTube. One day we found this 2011 Dodge Grand Caravan with only 120,000 kilometers, and it was like 5 minutes from our house. So we jumped on that opportunity. We finally said we're gonna do it, we're gonna see how it works out, and we bought it. So we had put it on TURO, expecting to like not get anybody like asking to use it for a while, because at this point when we bought it, it was the end of January, so it was really, really cold. We were kind of thinking like, who's doing road trips in February, you know? But to our surprise, within the first week we got our first booking, and that was a great feeling. Seeing that like message saying like the money's coming to your account and everything, we were like, wow, this could really work. It was a great feeling. As we went along, we actually started being booked like all the time. Like we barely had the car in our possession. Right then, like I kind of realized it kind of sucked because we were never really using the van. We went on one adventure in, I think it was March, in negative 40-degree weather, and we actually slept in the car. That was quite the experience. But I got COVID, so one of my trips with the van got canceled as well. And yeah, we never actually got to use the van that much. That was like the first kind of downfall of it. I was like, we got this van for ourselves, but it's being rented out like 24/7. So then came the fact that with TURO, there is a minimum amount of kilometers that you have to allow the people to use the car for. So even if you set it to the minimum amount, it's still like 200 kilometers per day. And if someone is taking your car for like a week, they can put up to 1,400 kilometers on it. Plus they can pay to put more, like to put more kilometers or to use it for longer distances. So every week the car would have like an extra like 1,500 kilometers on it. Per month, that's like 6,000 kilometers a month. So not only are we doing like oil changes every month and like just maintenance, but we also have to do so many repairs. And this is not like a new car, it's a 2011, so it tends to just like break down easier. It's also a Dodge compared to like a Toyota, which is what I'm used to. So it's a lot less reliable, I would say. Reliable compared to what I'm used to. Of course, compared to my Vokes, and I've talked about this in the past, it's very similar. Yeah, people would leave with the cars. Sometimes we had people who would cancel, who would not show up with the actual person who booked the car. So then we'd have problems not being able to give them the car because the person who booked isn't there. Them not being able to rebook because they're too young to rebook. Just a bunch of problems like that. Also, with renting out a car to younger people, they often don't know how to drive very well, which is why I understand now the whole young driver fee at rental companies. So there's just like the inconvenience of renting it out to people who like weren't the best drivers, didn't know how to drive, younger people who didn't drive the best, I would say. Just for a little recap, 1, we weren't able to use the van very much because it was always being rented out. 2, just so many repairs to do because of all of the kilometers. And number 3, renting it out to younger people or people who don't drive very well. It's very stressful, and that can lead to them calling you with lots of problems. And yeah. So, hi Thanos. As some of you guys may know, if you have been following along on my channel, in May, my dad passed away, and I just didn't have the energy to continue up with all of the work that renting it out was, because it's so much work. You have to clean the car every time. It's another thing. People would bring back the car super dirty, full of sand, and like it was just like a lot of work organizing everyone's trips and making sure that everyone's answered on the platform. All of that was happening. My dad passed, like I said. I was just like drained. I didn't have the energy to really work on TURO. And Jeremy and I kind of took the executive decision to cancel all of our bookings on TURO, which did put us out from a lot of money, because like the next month I think we were making $2,000 off of TURO. The next month after that probably like another $2,000. So we missed out on like a lot of money by just canceling all of our trips and taking the car off of TURO. I'll get more into like the money aspect in a little bit, but that's what happened. So we only actually ended up doing it for February, March, April, and then we took the car down. Now you're probably wondering, like, money wise, did you make a lot of money? Did you spend a lot of money? Was it worth it? So from the time where we bought the car to the time where we sold the car, these are the 2 numbers I'm going to be comparing. We bought the car for X amount plus and a little bit extra that we put aside just for like fixing up the car a little bit to pay for like the registrations and the plates and everything. And then minus the amount that we sold it for, we came out at about negative $1,700. Keep in mind that we sold the car with about $2,000 to $3,000 of repairs to do on it. So that would have been an extra cost that we would have had to do if we would have kept the car. So yeah, right there we were at negative $1,700. Next up on repairs, this is everything that we did on the car. So in 8 months we did a lot of repairs. It came out to a pretty pricey number. Actually, not that bad now that I'm looking at it. It came out to about $1,577. So that's another thing added in the negatives. We also had our friends who are mechanics do an oil change and redo the brakes, and that came out to a negative $400 as well. Then for miscellaneous things, we had to get a scanner for the engine light. We had to get a few like little things, just like maybe oil, coolant, stuff like that. There was an extra $180. Then there was 8 months of insurance and of parking, because we had to pay for an extra parking spot, which was $640. So those are all of the negatives, which comes out to a total of, I'll put it here. And then with TURO in those 3 months, keep in mind that it was spring, which is like a very time for bookings. So we didn't make that much. If we would have continued, we would have made a lot more money, because the summer months, like it really shoots up. And like I said, in each month we probably would have made an extra $2,000. But there was also repairs to do on the car, which were like $3,000. So it would have came out to like only an extra $3,000. Plus we would have had to do a bunch more repairs because the car would have been used for 3 months. So in the end, it's not like we would have made that much more throughout the summer. So basically in all, over those 8 months, only doing TURO for 3 months, we came out in the negatives. We lost 3,489 Canadian dollars. So now the question is, do I regret doing this? Was this a bad investment? If I could go back, would I not do it again? The answer to that is I have 0 regrets. This is something that Jeremy and I had been talking about for roughly a year and a half or 2 years. We had been wanting a van. We had been wanting to try this whole like business side of like renting a vehicle. If we hadn't done it when we did, we would have done it now, or we would have done it like in the future. Like at some point we were definitely meant to do it, because like it was just in a plan. Like that's just something that we really wanted to do. And I think that we learned a lot. Learned things like how to not be too kind in business, because people often take that for granted. I don't know. We learned a lot in the last 8 months just about how to run a business. Hi, Thanos. You want to say hi? Yeah, we learned a lot, and I think it's going to help us run whatever our next business is way better, whether that be in like properties or YouTube or whatever it might be. And it also made me realize that rushing things is never really worth it. It's kind of like just waiting and trusting the process is really important. But yeah, overall, I don't have any regrets. It was a good learning curve. I think that 3.5K hit isn't too bad of a hit. But yeah, I don't recommend doing TURO unless you have like multiple cars, or it's something that you want to work on like long term in order to have multiple cars and really have it running and be like your only job. I think that in that case it could work. But if it's not going to be like your main priority, your main source of income, and that's never the plan, I don't think that it's like worth it. I think that like for me specifically, I really want to focus on YouTube. Also, my priorities have changed a lot since my dad passing away. And also, I talked about this in a previous video. I don't think it's still up. I think I took it down. But I talked about how I started being screened for cancer. Don't have any cancer right now. I just want to make that clear. I was all clear in all of my last tests, but I need to get screened every year. So with that and my dad passing away, my priorities have changed a lot. Right now, my only like business long-term plans is YouTube. Other than that, yeah, there's nothing like, no plans for TURO or like a rental car business. And for Jeremy, it's really the shop. He's really doing well right now with that. And I think that's just what we want to focus on right now and less on like side hustles, because these are our main ones. This is what like our passions are and what we love to do. So I hope you guys enjoyed that. I hope it was a little bit informative. I hope it helps you make a decision about whether or not you personally want to go down that path. I don't think it's all negative, and I think that if it's something that you really want to do, you should do it, because maybe your experience is going to turn out better than mine. Maybe you have a newer car. Maybe it's a Toyota, way more reliable car, way less repairs to do. We have one more video coming up next Friday. I think it's just going to be a day in my life, to be honest. I've been feeling very in flow lately, very aligned, very artsy. So I think I'm going to record that along with just like me packing for our trip, because after that, you guys are going to have about 3 months of content from the UK, because that's where we're going. I will see you guys very soon. I hope you guys have a wonderful weekend and that you're feeling good and happy in life. Bye guys. See you very soon.